Peace up, A-Town.
At Faro High, Ramses was the biggest player around.
No doubt.
But when the new kid in school
I am a stranger in a strange land.
realized hanging with the in-crowd wasn't so easy, he took a stand.
Man shall be ruled by law, not by the will of other men.
Moses.
Now the battle is on to see who can get the girl, who will rule the school, and if a zero can become a hero. So let the games begin. From the creators of Must Love Jaws comes a comedy 3,000 years in the making.
You're a sharp-clawed, treacherous little... Did you hear that?
Charlton Heston, Yul Brenner, Sinead O'Connor, and Samuel L. Jackson as Principal Firepush.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to fucking acknowledge it.
10 things I hate about commandments.
Right, okay then. So we have a microphone. So I'm going to use this. Right. Hi, how's that? Hey, finally we can hear. This is wonderful. Right, we'll figure out what went wrong with that. Anyway, never mind. Working yet? No, still not working. Right, okay, alright, never mind. Glitches, they happen. Okay, right, so you've just been watching a clearly factually correct video about a very special person. This is Moses, the man. Everybody say the man. Okay, you can do better than that. Moses, the man. I mean, clearly he's the man. Look at the pose. I mean, that's just the man pose right there. I mean, come on. You can't look at that guy and not think he's an impressive kind of dude there, right? I mean, there he is with the pose. I believe that that's the exact pose he pulled while walking down the mountain with the tablets, you know what I mean? So they were all in awe of him because he's obviously so awesome. There he is. There's Moses the man. Now, I assume we all know the story of Moses the man, right? Come on. I mean, even if you've never set foot in church, you know who this dude is. You know all the amazing things he did, right? Okay, so this is Moses. There's not much I can tell you about him, right? So, well, why don't we go and look at what he actually did? Let's see what the Word says about him. That always clears everything up, doesn't it? Reading the Bible always makes everything seem so much clearer, doesn't it? Yes? Okay, right, so let's move on. We know the story of this guy, Moses, and by the way, that wasn't an Israeli name, that was an Egyptian name. Moses, the brother of Ramses. You see, they kind of rhyme because he was raised as his brother. Now, you know this, right? He was born as a Jew, and then he was shipped off down the river because that's what they had to do. And then they got picked up and he got raised by the royal family. This is awesome. So they got raised as the brother of Pharaoh's son. So basically, Pharaoh. That's who he's going to be. Hey, happy life. And then he finds out, oh, actually, you're a Jew. So he goes a bit wobbly and kills someone. Not quite that simple, but there was a bit more to it. But he kills someone and then he runs off. Hey, I'm off. And then God talks to him through a burning bush. I'm just going to pause. Anybody get laughing at your system now? You need to do it. Just do it. Come on. Yeah, it's fine. Right, okay. Let's say a fiery plant, okay? So God talks to him through a fiery plant and he goes, hey, yes, it's me. I'm God. I really am God. And the dude's like, oh, that's a bit special. And various other things happen, like, you know, he says, right, throw a stick on the ground. So he did, and it became a snake. And the bush said, alakazam, or something. And, you know, it was amazing, miraculous things were happening. And so God proves to him, absolutely, I'm here, I'm real, and I am God. And Moses is like, all right, fair enough, dude, it's all good. So then God says, right, okay, I want you to go back there to Egypt, where you came from, where your people are being enslaved by your brother. And Moses is like, well, he's not really my brother. And God's like, well, in the Jeremy Kyle kind of way he is. And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough, you know, that's the way it is. So, okay, so he goes, okay, I'm going to go. So we're going to pick up the bit in the scripture just after that's happened. So God said, right, go and set them Israelites free. He said it like that. So Moses gets his wife and he gets his kids and they're trekking off to go and set the Israelites free. So let's read the scripture, because that's going to make things way more simple. Okay, this is how we clarify. So it says, right, okay, at a lodging place along the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. Surely we've missed a bit. No, this comes right after God sent him to go and free the Israelites. Then it says, right, at a lodging place along the way, the Lord met him and was about to kill him. Right, okay, Lydia, that's not what happens on a a regular Sunday, is it? I mean, that's a bit special. Right, but you might think, what? Because I first read this when I was doing this thing like read the Bible from Genesis 1, verse 1, and just keep reading it all the way through. My advice is, don't do that. It gets very weird and you don't know what you're looking at, like this moment. In fact, this was the first moment where I looked at it and I'm, what? So then you think, okay, I'll read a bit further, because obviously it's going to explain itself, right? So, at a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. But Zipporah, his wife, took out a flint knife and cut off his son's throat. No! Special friend! Cut off his son's special friend. So I'm just going to preach the rest of the thing like this. Now, this doesn't make things less weird, right? I mean, you're reading this and you're thinking, oh, this is kind of getting worse. Well, let's read on a little bit, okay? And Moses fought with it! I don't know who I feel more sorry for, Moses or his son. Well, actually, definitely his son. Well, can you imagine your Moses? I mean, good grief. You've gone into hiding, you've run away from where you killed someone, and then a plant sets fire and starts talking to you, and talks you through doing amazing, miraculous things, and then says, go over there, and then turns up and tries to kill you. I mean, that's not good. And if that wasn't bad enough, your wife starts hacking up your son and throwing him in your legs. I mean, what the heck is going on? It's like, I am not having a good day here. Can you imagine poor Moses? We're off to see the Israelites today, we're going to do the Lord's work. Oh no, he's trying to kill us. And then you look at your wife, why you get a knife out when you're getting stabbed on? Put his pants back on with you. What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, don't touch me with it, I would be all over the place at this. I would not be having a good day, people. Right? You put yourself in this guy's shoes and you're thinking, wow, I wish I was wearing shoes, because then at least I wouldn't touch any body parts. But, what the heck? Am I the only one who reads this and this gets worse the more I read it? This makes no sense. I'm not joking. The verse before, God's saying, you're the best, go and free some people, good boy. And then that's it. Now we're having body part wars. And what's going on? He was born as a Jew, right? And, well, hang on, I'm going to just cast your mind back to something in a moment. Well, would it Paul and put his guitar on the top of that thing? There we go. Okay, right, so we were talking about Jews a while ago. Fellas, stand up, class, right? There's a certain thing that Jewish boys had done. Unless they'd been shipped off down the river before they got a chance to get that done. Right, okay, so there you go. So here's Moses, brother of Ramses, the guy who'd been enslaving the people doing this, probably thinking, you are a bit weird, you're so stupid, you deserve to be enslaved, maybe we can stop you doing this. Who does that to their children? Nevertheless, that's what they were doing, okay, and that's the agreement that their ancestor had reached with God. We love you so much, we're going to dedicate ourselves to you so much by doing this. And I can imagine his son saying, could we just get a tattoo or something? That would be much easier. But no, this was it. This is the sign of, yes, we are yours, God. This was the sign. So God's like, okay, that's what it is. So, Moses is one of them. But he didn't get it done. So now he's an old man by the time he finds this out. Or at least he's not a little kid. So, then he runs away and he meets God and it's like, oh, I really am one of you people. Oh, and the one we've been cutting bits off for really does exist. And he really is God. And now he's sending me on his mission. But the thing is, by this point, Moses had kids. He had his own kids. And he knew by this point that they're Jews as well, because they're his and he is, etc. So basically, Moses was saying, no, that's the tradition of my people, but I'm not going to do it. Moses was a moron. Moses was really stubborn. Moses thought he could out-stubborn God. And there's more than one example of this. I mean, there was a time when he had to hit a rock for magic things to happen. We'll talk about that another time. But he didn't happen quick enough, so he hit it again. He got impatient with God. It's like, God, you're going to do things on my time. God, you're going to do things according to my rules. And this is God turning up saying, you what? And this is Moses' wife saying, leave it, it's not worth it. I mean, that's basically what happened there. That was Moses' girlfriend intervening to try to get him out of a fight that he was certainly going to lose. Right? So this is what was happening. But Moses had a really short temper. Moses was really stubborn. Moses was a bit angry. Moses had all kinds of character defects that we don't think of. We just think about him looking like this. Looking like the hero, the man who went to get the stone tablets and parted the Red Sea and all that. We think about these good things. And you could very well be forgiven for thinking, I could never be someone else thinking he can play chicken with God. Don't do that. See, Moses had all kinds of things about him that make him someone you don't want to be like. Moses didn't deserve to do the things he did. He did them in spite of who he was. He also didn't speak very well. But there's all kinds of stuff that we can get onto there. But the only good thing that Moses really had going for him is that when God said, I can use you, he said, okay. And he didn't even say that at first. God had to kind of convince him into it. But he did. So in the end, God said, I can use you. And he said, okay. That was all he had going for him. So who's this fellow? Well, clearly you can see from the paragraph I left at the top there that this is Paul. There he is. So there's Paul, the Ned Flanders of the Bible. This was the goody two-shoes. He wrote massive amounts of the Bible. He wrote more letters than an angry pensioner. This guy was amazing. Dear BBC. And he liked his letters. He did. He wrote letters to everybody. But the thing is, the letters are what we base our whole faith on. I mean, good grief, Paul is the most quoted person in the Bible, except for Jesus. I think some people actually quote Paul more than they quote Jesus. He wrote a huge amount of the Bible, and specifically the bits that we base how to do church on. When he's talking about this is what Jesus meant when he said that, this is what we need to do now. I mean, all the instructions, so much of it comes from this guy. Surely he's a hero of the faith. Of course he is. Let me read you a bit. This is from the book of Acts. And by the way, if you want to start reading the Bible, Acts is a really good place to start, because it just starts telling the story from when Jesus went up to what they did afterwards. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is basically Jesus, 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 and Jesus. That's it. 4 people telling the story. And then Acts, it stands for the actions of the apostles. It's basically what his followers did. That's what the word means. Right? So there you go. Jesus, 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 and Jesus. And then this is what his followers started doing. And this is where the story gets handed over from Jesus to Paul, who wrote a bunch of the books that come after that. So there he is, right? So in Acts, this guy's writing, and he says, Paul was preaching to them, and since he was leaving the next day, he kept talking until midnight. Does anybody who goes to church know how that feels? Oh yes, you'll be glad I'm not going to do that to you, but I could. But anyway, so since he was leaving the next day, he kept talking till midnight. It gets better. As Paul spoke on and on, a young man named Eutychus, sitting on the windowsill, became very drowsy. Finally, he fell sound asleep and dropped 3 stories to his death. Oh gosh, says Amelia. I don't know, just put those words in your mouth there. But, I mean, there you go. The great Apostle Paul, the guy with cathedrals around the world named after him, he preached a man to death. Just so you know, we preachers, we can do that. I'm watching. Yes, the Apostle Paul bored a man to death. Now, if you read on, you see that what came after that was he went down onto the ground where the guy was lying and prayed over him, and he came back to life. So there you go. No harm, no foul. Feel free to kill people as long as you pray for them afterwards. No, I didn't say that. Do not quote me. I will deny it in any court of law. Well, there you go. But here's the thing. You may well be thinking, I couldn't be a preacher. Well, do you know what? St. Paul bored a man to death. You could say, I could never preach like Paul. I couldn't be that kind of a guy. But the thing is, good, because this is the standard to beat. If people are alive after you finish preaching, you're doing better than Paul. There you go. If you haven't bored anybody out of a window, you're doing better than Paul. You see, he set the standard pretty low. So you might think, I'm not good enough to be up there. Well, you're still alive, so I'm doing better than him, and I reckon you could as well. The last thing you want to do is look at these people in the Bible and say, I could never do that. Because the answer is, good. They generally did a terrible job at what they were doing. If you look at what the disciples wrote about what the disciples did, they made themselves look like idiots because the amount of times they didn't have enough faith, or they asked stupid questions, or they did stupid things. They got all kinds wrong. So did Paul. So did Moses. And I'm not even close to finished yet. Have a look at this.
Think God can't use you? Think he only uses perfectly qualified people? Take a closer look. Moses was not a great speaker. Jonah ran from God. Jacob was a liar. Noah got drunk. Rahab was a prostitute. David had an affair. Jeremiah was depressed. A lot. Solomon was rich in wisdom, but poor in lifestyle. John the Baptist was just plain poor. Timothy was too young. Abraham was too old. Lazarus was dead. Sarah was barren. Naomi was a widow. Gideon and Thomas both doubted. So did Sarah. Peter lacked self-control. James and John were self-righteous. Paul had a short fuse. Well, so did Peter and Moses. Actually, lots of people did. God's army isn't perfect. It never has been. It's the march of the unqualified. Get in line.
Okie dokie, are we back on? Hooray, we're working now. Woohoo, isn't it wonderful? Right, okay, so I want to give you a quote, okay? I want to give you a quote. Do not forget this quote. It's this: I'm not good enough, says me. I said that. I've said that many times. I'm talking on one specific occasion. This was, right, you know how we're going to Soul Survivor soon? That was pathetic. You know how we're going to Soul Survivor soon? Right, you, yeah, too. Some of us are going to Soul Survivor. Right, so yeah, we're going to Soul Survivor. It's an amazing youth camp that we go to. But back in the day, we used to go to this other one before we went there. We went to this one called Faith Camp, which was completely different. But I was about 14 at the time, and I was just getting into keyboard playing, just starting out. And I had this little kind of home keyboard, this big, with mini keys on it. You know, it was a toy basically. I think we've still got it. I think it might be in the cupboard, but anyway. Right, so I'm going to put this down. Right, so because I know you're going to be watching me doing this the whole time. Yeah, I know you watch me. Right, so anyway, I'm there at this thing, and they got these bands, and some of us might remember the band Heartbeat. Yeah, you just showed your age there. Why would you do that? Right, so this band called Heartbeat back in the day. Now then, I'm not going to comment on how they would be compared to today's bands, but they were really big, they were really famous, and they were touring all over the place. They were recording albums, and they were playing big stadium gigs and all this kind of stuff. And they had a few other bands on the same label. And we're there in this big tent of like 1,000 teenagers. And they're giving all this stuff that they're doing. And they have an announcement: we've got a new band coming up, and we need a keyboard player. And all my mates turned around to me and said, John, you go on, go for it. A, I'm still in high school. That might have a problem with that. But also, I'm not good enough. I mean, that was my thing. I am nowhere near good enough for that. And you know what? I was probably right. In fact, I definitely was right. I could play maybe one chord. I wasn't great at the time. I was playing like a typewriter, just playing TV jingles. You know, that's kind of where I was up to. But all my mates thought I could play keyboard. But I mean, I was absolutely right when I said, I'm just not skilled enough to do that, to do what they're doing. I was probably right. I needed to gain some skills. And sometimes when you say, I'm not good enough, it's true. You don't have the skills that you need. So don't take what I'm saying today to mean, go out and try brain surgery. You know, I'm not saying that. You actually need to be skilled at doing things, but maybe not as much as you think. Because what I really meant when I said I'm not good enough was I'm not spiritual enough. And that was my thing. They're going out there doing Jesus stuff. That's what they're going out there doing. They're going to places and talking about Jesus and praying for people and doing all these amazing things. And I'm like, I'm not spiritual enough for that. I'm not good enough for doing that. That's a quote of me. That's what I said at the time. Many years later, here's another quote for you. You never are. You never are. If you're waiting to be spiritual enough to go and do something, well, you're going to be waiting an awful long time. You'll never be there. And I think a lot of people in this room right now are wondering, what does God want me to do with my life? And sometimes I think the reason he's not showing you that is because if he showed you this is what I've got for you, you'd back off and you'd say, I can't do that. You'd say, I'm not good enough. You'd say, I'm not spiritual enough. But you know what? You're never going to be. Because God's not going to do something that takes you to the end of your abilities. Just like Moses, he took him past the fact that he was a moron to do something amazing. Like with Paul, he took him past the fact that he was deathly boring and actually got him to do some amazing things. But it was God that did it through him. It wasn't him that did it in himself. Does that make sense? So, if God was to show you something, and this is what he wants for you, I guarantee so many things that he would say, I'm going to do this through you today. Not 10 years' time when you've gotten more qualified. Today, this is what we're going to do. I think your response would usually be, I'm not good enough, I'm not spiritual enough. But you never will be, which means you're never going to do anything. But the thing is, this whole thing about you never are, well, that's only a problem if you're doing it alone. You're not strong enough, well, that means you won't be able to lift that weight. You're not spiritual enough, means you won't be able to break through that barrier. You're not qualified, means you'll never be able to do that. But you're not supposed to do it alone. At no point has God said to you, this is what you're going to do. What God wants is, this is what we're going to do. So if you're not going alone, then you're no longer a you, you're a we. So try applying that. We're not good enough, talking about you and God. I mean, seriously, what are you going to say that applies to God's not good enough? I mean, what are you going to do? We're not spiritual enough. I mean, really? What are you going to tell God he's not spiritual enough for? As long as you're a you, you're right. You're not good enough for a lot of things. I'm not good enough for a lot of things. But I don't do what I do in my strength. I'm not just this. I'm part of an us. Which means I don't have to rely on my strength. Which means it doesn't matter whether I'm qualified. It doesn't matter whether I'm good for this. It doesn't matter. I'm not the one doing it. But, stay with me. Right. You're going to... Right, actually, wait. I want to just think about this for a minute. Okay. Now, I've been talking really spiritual stuff. I've been talking really, praying for people and healing and stuff like that. I guarantee there's a challenge in your life right now. And you're thinking, I'm not good enough. And maybe you're attaching a yet to that, right? You're thinking, I'm not strong enough yet. I'm not qualified yet. I'm not strong enough in God yet. That goes beyond me at the moment. Or maybe you're just thinking, I just couldn't do that. Come on, you know this, right? We've all got a challenge in front of us and we're all asking, how am I going to do that? And you're probably thinking, I never will. And in some cases, we even give up. We give up because we think, I can't do that. Well, maybe you can't. But with God, you can. And one thing the Bible shows us is not a bunch of amazing people, but a bunch of very, very average, ordinary people that he did something amazing through just before they got qualified, before they were able to do it themselves. So, if you're trying to do things by yourself, you're going to fail a lot, and you know that already. You don't need me to tell you that. But also, you're always going to feel inadequate. You know why? Because you're trying to be your own hero. You're trying to save the day in your own life. Oh, that's what you're trying to do. Don't be a hero. Just be a tool. That's all you're going to be. Just be a tool. Listen, God's not asking you to fix things. He's not asking you to be the solution. He wants to be the solution through you. So all you got to do is be willing to let him use you. That's it. Don't be a hero. Just be a tool. That's all you got to be. Stop waiting to be good enough. Stop waiting to be qualified enough. And definitely stop waiting to be spiritual enough. You'll never get there. He's already there, so he doesn't have to wait. So, a couple of weeks ago, we said, no blind faith, no blind doubt. Remember we talked about this? Listen, blind faith is for fools. But so is blind doubt. Folding your arms and saying, I believe it's true no matter what, I'm not going to listen to you. That just means you're being ignorant. But saying, I can't do that and I'm not going to listen to anything, well, that's ignorant as well. So if you was to say, John, okay, I like the sound of that, but I'm going to need some evidence, that's okay. Doubting is okay. With your faith, doubting is okay. Just as long as you've got your eyes open and your mind open. You're willing to look to see if there's something there that can change your mind, and you're willing to accept it if you see it. And at the same time, grow down, get over yourself. God doesn't want you to be the adult in your own relationship. He doesn't want you to think it's all about you and you can overcome it and you can figure it all out, because adults the world over will tell you, we haven't figured anything out. We're just suddenly responsible. No, God doesn't want you to be responsible. He wants you to be the child. Let him be the parent. Grow down, get over yourself, and start trusting him like a child trusts their parent. Because at the end of the day, either fear or faith. One of them is going to rule your life. You're either willing to take some faith and step just a little bit further than you ever have before, not knowing what's going to happen. You're either willing to do that or you're too afraid. Either faith is guiding your path or fear is guiding your path. That's it. Faith or fear. One will rule your life. So, why is that important? Well, I'm telling you that God can do something in you. God can do something through you that you can't do, and you don't know how you'd ever be able to do it. And so it is effectively standing on a cliff and saying, I can't fly, but I believe God's going to catch me. By the way, don't go walking up the cliffs and jumping off, hoping God's going to catch you. Not being literal there. God wants to take you somewhere where you're going to go and do something you've never done, and in your own strength, you can't do. We talked about trusting God with little things, little tiny things, and that's good. So build up to slightly bigger things. But every time you do, every time you stretch your faith, it's by doing something you didn't think you could do before. That's how you grow with it. And so, one step at a time, you're going to build your faith. And I believe that people in the room, that's what we're going to do. I think everybody in here, I think your faith has grown a bit this year already. But I think it's nothing compared to what's coming. What you got to do is you got to start trusting God like a child trusts their dad. Because at the end of the day, this is your moment. Stop waiting. Stop thinking that God's going to use you in the future. God's going to use you in the future. God's going to do something with you one day. He's ready to do something with you now, right now, wherever you are, whoever you are. Now's your time. Stop waiting. Step forward and do something. Now, you know, I showed a thing on Friday about you can cuddle drug-addicted babies to help them heal. And everybody was like, oh, I want to do that. And suddenly I won at the back. Right, so, yeah. Okay, you can do things like that. You can go and help, you know, old ladies go off the street, and you can do all these things. You want to join a food bank, then Paul works at one there, gives them a call. Hiya. Right, so you can do that right now. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. But why think it's small? What if God wants to do an awful lot more for you? Something that you think, I could not do that. But I just gave you a list of things you could do. What about things within yourself that you could not do? But God says you can. Well, take a look at this. Okay, so I'm pretty sure everybody in the room would look at that and say, I can't do that. Because everybody in the room is true. No, you can't, and neither can I. But there's some people in the room that already know, I can't, but God can. And so there's people in the room already who are willing to, just like that, say, God's just told me this about you. I would like to pray for you right now and expect healing to actually happen. So talk about stepping off that cliff, right? Oh, what if it goes wrong? Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not spiritual enough. God doesn't like me enough. I haven't sung enough songs in church. Oh, you know, you can come up with all these reasons. Exactly why you describe all the people in the Bible there who made mistake after mistake after mistake. God still used them. He still worked through them. He still did amazing things through them. And he wants to do that through you. And I don't care how long you've been coming to this church. Maybe you've been coming here for 5 years. Maybe you've been here for 5 minutes. You know what? Even if this is your first time, God still wants to do this through you. He wants to take you on a journey. And he wants to take you to where you're doing something amazing. So, we're going to start this training a week on Tuesday. It's a week on Tuesday. We're going to be doing this where you can learn how to do this. But before that, we've got the next one in this series where we're going to talk about your life in God's hands and God's power in your hands. We're going to talk about this. You're going to hear some stories. You're going to hear some real stories about this. And the person who's speaking will be able to talk to you all afterwards about it if you want to know more. I'm going to be introducing a guest speaker next week, and that is our own Paul. He's going to be speaking for us next week. So it's going to be really, really good. I hope you'll all join us for that. I hope you've learned something tonight. I hope we've pushed you a little. We hope you've had a good night. And so thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. This is about at the end. So I'm going to say thanks for being here and thanks for listening.